book with Moka, you are the woman. You are the woman. Marta de Gracia, Marta de Gracia, I said, Mamma, that way, I do all years. You're my Yama way. You're my Yama way. Get it in your man. Get it in Gracia. Get it in work. I said, Mamma, you're just a player, the more player. Get it. I come at the my Janus, yet, Yamano Gaya, setting him up with it. Jim won't put on your palette. You got a problem to go to Yamaka. To Yamaka, that's over. Madame to Yamaka. In the water, I can't play at you. Yamaka. Manama, yeah,
Good evening, so welcome. This is Alphonso Zean Soe right here from the New England Bureau Desk of the Liberia Public Radio. A traditionalist taking you to neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire this evening. Welcome to the show. One of our good, valuable listeners and viewers, our own boy, crew boy, welcome to the show, Omant, all the way Australia, Satel, and all of the good folks of Liberia Public Radio. E-Ment here, what's up, my man? And Kabli, Achimot, Fedri, this is what we do here, Eltot, Milfi Diggold, which team are you playing for? Are you with the collaborations of the GOL? Welcome, I'm Alphonso Zean Soe right here to the Liberia Public Radio. Let's get the ball rolling. See the men who come in the house. I'm Abraham Bango, 10 year Macaulay. Good evening to welcome wherever you are. This is LPR. Benda is on fire. Invite someone at your company to just do us a favor to invite someone at your company to hit the share button. Well, what a what? Liberia borders with Cote d'Ivoire, right? So what now? We dance to the rhythms of La Cote d'Ivoire. Able to welcome, we want to welcome our folks, Zean Boyd and all of the good folks. Let's give recognition to all of our good, committed, and followers of the Liberia Public Radio. I am Alphonso Zean Soe, welcoming you this evening. This is an informative news magazine, all things considered, and it's good to be right back here, right here on the New England Bureau News Base. Let's get the ball rolling. Okay, good evening, folks. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for sharing your evening with us. I'm Alphonso Zean Soe of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv. Good to be back here, right here at the New England Bureau Desk. Just do us a favor, share this podcast with us, with your friends, followers, and let's have a conversation. All things considered. I will be airing right here to right now from the New England Bureau Desk of the Liberia Public Radio, and certainly we all going to be part of this today's talking point. A lot is ongoing with in and out, and there are some other developing news, not those traditional breaking news always that is coming, but it's something within the system of Liberia Public Radio. I've been going back and forth inside Liberia, trying to push some lines. And apparently we will be having some sort of collaboration. To believe me, it's going to be a fire pack. We're going to have a real conversation. It will be an entertainment, but in a different context. With respect to the political conversations in Liberia, keeping it proportionate. And that's what we're going to be doing. Let's take a review on some of the news making headlines across the globe, which, of course, according to France 24, Somali leader Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has wins the presidency in Somalia. No survivor found in a Floyd situation, according to France 24, in Burkina Faso. You know Burkina Faso? Yes. Liberia marketers decry shortage, according to Liberia Public Radio Online media outlet. Liberian marketers decry shortage of lowered denominations of local currency on the market. Lot is unfolding. Lpr also reporting that former Vice President Jose Newman Boyka will be returning to court. What is going on? You're going to testify against whom? Considering all that is unfolding, can we say with honesty and look in the eyes of the camera to say the opposition or the collaboration is still holding? I don't know. Well, Amos Joy is going to be joining me here. And you, our men and viewers and followers, of course, we always include you into the talking point. But guess what? One of the legendary and one of the gurus in the media industry, during my recent visit in Liberia, I had a time to engage him in his cool, beautiful platform. And by the way, extensive conversation is ongoing between the management of the Liberia Public Radio and Sky Communication Network to team up. It's going to be a bomb. It's going to be a blast. Imagine T-Max Jiratet, the grandson, and Zean Soe in collaboration to team up to host a program. No politician is going to go free. They're going to answer some of the question. So management, we are almost in the grand finale of this conversation. It was a really deep, humble meeting to legendary Martin Brandt, one of the golden voices in the media industry in Liberia, Martin Brandt. The Scar family was very, very, very much magnanimous to our visit. My mentor Matthias, Princess, Uncle Joe, all of these great folks with Scar. And it was a great reception. And let's see here. But at Timas, we kind of share stage, and then the following day, he decided to go one-on-one with me and to give a little bit backdrop of how the Liberia Public Radio came into being and why. So it was a little bit good conversation. Let's see here. Let's give you a sneak peek. Let's see what happened here from 50-50 Scar FM spinning round.
Election, Liberia has to have a new phase. Liberia has to start a new phase and let them look at us as they used to look at us in the 70s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s.
Right.
So we expect people like you, somebody who has something to contribute to the development of Liberia to come. Let's look at LPR on Liberian Public Radio. What does it do? What led to the creation of that?
Just a long history of Liberia Public Radio, LPR. We transitioned from one entity, one name to another, and gradually we grabbed the concept to give it a good captions of let us represent our country. And it all started, just to be very succinct to the point, it all started when I was a community leader a district from Grand Basin district. We started to have radio bars on the basis of that was to bring our people together to get engaged, connected with their families at home, other places, so as to make an impact on the development process, the political conversations, social issue, infrastructure, to give voices to people. So it started from Basin District. And as we grow, we decided to went to Voice of Jide. And it was growing, and then like, wait a minute, what sense does it make? What would be the perceptions if I were to invite somebody from Lofa, from Grand Crew? They would feel that their communications or their thought is just being directed to a wrong base. So I told my folks, look, we are growing, we need to take a holistic approach. We need to make it much broader. And so
it will not be seen as radio.
Yeah, Voice of Jida. We don't want it to be saying like, okay, this is on the network.
It's a tribal network.
Exactly. We quick to make judgments and place stigma on stuff. So they not happy. As a matter of fact, when our Voice of Jida is not just only Grand Gideons, though, to let be clear. So I just woke up one morning, I told my guy, hey, we need to have a change. Yes, but then what's the basis of changing from what I say? Yes, when you are growing, you give a good thought force. So let's find a name that will represent our country, our national emblem. And part of that, the name came in because I'm a strong favorite or listener of the National Public Radio
in the States,
NPR, which is it's a public. It's not owned by government. It's not owned by anybody. It's subsidized and supported by ordinary citizens in the country. So I said, why not we come up with the name Liberia Public Radio? And as God may have it, that domain name, no one else will put in for it. Nobody has it. So you can like, you know what? Whether I would like it or not, go to bed, give it a thought. This name is a true representation of our country.
And it will resonate.
It will resonate. And so people will feel comfortable when we're bringing them in to have a conversation. They will know that they are dialoguing with their country, with their kingsmen, and our neighbors as well. And so down the road, people from it, they saw that it was a good line of reasoning. And so we put in for it, and that name was granted, and we became LPR.
So basically, your programming is structured on events taking place in Liberia, the lifestyle of Liberians, the way country is, the politics of Liberia.
We are the voice. We engage into Americans' way of doing it. Yeah, because part of that, people needs to be informed of changes in their local state. as well, because there's a saying goes, ignorance of a law is no excuse. For example, my own state, every now and then there are changes. So what we do is to have these conversations on the local level, on the international level, so that people will know exactly. And part of that is to give Liberia a good picture to the rest of the world. Not everything in the country is bad. There are some bad things, of course, but there are some other productive things going on. Yeah, and part of that, news has evolved. Media now more or less is on a digital outlet, so it is important that we add to what are you guys, what are you doing here, and other folks that are doing, so that we do that. And by the way, LPR is one of the first organized network. At that time, there was no online. Guess what? It used to be on a teleconference.
Okay.
Yeah, it used to be on like a teleconference, which was kind of like crazy. But as we went along to the good innovations of Mike Zuckerberg, look, live Facebook stream started, YouTube, Twitter, and we thought that we make wise of the technologies of the modern society.
What has been the reception of Liberians? Because Liberians have this I know they will come down hard on me. We have this the crap mentality, bring each other down. We don't support one another. You see it with the notion and collaboration political parties. We got into things that we don't intend to hold legally. We just that we have our own ulterior motives. How Liberian critical of the broadcast of the issue discussed on LPR in America? Are they in support of that, or do they do the same usual?
Well, depending on who you talk to, they're going to give their own interpretation. But our focus is to keep the narrative of what news is. Not when I'm hosting my program, I am not enticed with what listeners want to hear. I tell them what they need to know. And unfortunately, media has become a sort of political satire. It has become a sort of drama, entertainment. Don't get me wrong, entertainment is a component of news making, but we have critical issues in the country, outside of the country. So we need to focus and be strategic to have this conversation in order to direct our viewers, the electors in making useful decision. So I'm not really bothered with what people say when I'm online, what they tweet. Alfonso is for the opposition, Alfonso is for the ruling establishment. That's people perceptions. That's their opinion.
You can change
You can question
you can change
so that shouldn't be. The only thing we demand is civility. You have the right to accuse me based on my content of my topic. Is okay, man. This guy, he's so, but he doesn't like her. It's obvious. Those things.
It's obvious.
Yeah, I'm quite sure people have accused me.
Come on. I don't like people. I don't like this.
I don't really waste.
I don't care. I don't care whether. I mean, it's. Can you change people mentality?
No.
It's about you. You're hungry. They say, oh, he's lazy. You eat too much. So he wants to show well. I just don't care. Like you said, I focus on what I think in my mind is true and what will benefit the totality of Liberians. So that's what is.
And so I can for sure tell you, maybe other people might have opinions. LPR has a very good credibility because in our news content, we are proportional. We are not judgmental. Nobody going to run to us and say T-Max is X, Y, Z without us placing a call to get the version to get a side of T-Max. That's what news is all about. But unfortunately, the news now is being blended with subliminal messages, innuendos, falsehood, for variety of reasons that we can't waste our time here to come. And so it is saddening. And for us, we have engaged both Liberians and the diaspora who were actively involved during the Ebola crisis. I had the opportunity to.
You were just since that time Ebola.
Over 12 years now, LPR has been. We are not in a contest. We are not in a beauty pageant with anybody who this is. What we focus on is the substance and the issue. I had the opportunity to interview then Gaola Louis Brown when he was minister, Toba Nyenswa when he was heading it, WHO representative, and guess what? And that gives a broader look of what the country was facing. What this fellow named that went to America and died at the time.
Oh yeah, I've forgotten this name.
I put it down.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll come to that.
Sawyer, it was his name was
Yeah,
Sawyer.
Yehuda, I believe he was in Florida.
Mhm.
We had a conversation. So we interviewed our local health people because there was this sort of stigma, Liberian athletes. That was not the case. Oh wow, that was my conversation with legendary T Max Gilatet of Scar Communications based in Liberia, in the West African state of the Republic of Liberia. Preparing his program, it was quite fascinating, humble, meeting all hands in the business, legendary Martin Brown. Those are media guru. When Martin Brown sits behind the microphone, he knows what he's talking about. Unfortunately, time has involved. We are in a different society. So that's how it looked like. Just a little sneak peek of the conversation with T Max Jirate. And so, my man Amos George, the man from the far right, will be here this evening, all things considered, airing right here from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. We say good evening to good morning to our viewers and listeners, wherever you are. And guess what? Technical details has been worked out. There are going to be a lot of variety of changes here coming to LPR because LPR will be sharing news content. They're not collaboration. I'm not talking about that collaboration, what a form, and there was a core group outside of that collaboration. That's not what we are going to do. We are taking all at the conversation. We are taking all around the table to have that discourse. Nobody going to be leaving their baggage to the door or behind the door and walk in the conference room. So this conversation has been going on for a while during my first trip in Liberia and that of the recent one. And so the deal is about to seal out. We're going to take a little time. We're going to be sharing news content. T-Max Jiraten possibly will be sharing stage while he's in Liberia. I'm right here, and team of analysts and contributors, as usual, with our guests, going to be here. And that's where you're going to see where the real conversations about Liberia, not to entertain you and leaving those sticky issues. My man Amos George is joining me from Atlanta, Georgia. Let me just bring him here. He's one of the brain behind this whole deal during his visit. And believe me, voices going to be echoing him, or if not off, most part, strategic power decisions will be last. Let me bring in Amos George here. Let's have a conversation. The man Amos George, Pa George, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Soe, and welcome back from Liberia.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me say it. Thank you. You were very, very much instrumental in getting this, and I can say it. The hook is about to be placed on this on the handle that Liberia Public Radio and Scar Communications Network in Liberia will be sharing news content. Join program, possibly details is being worked out. What's going through your mind?
Let me first of all thank you to you and the staff of the management and team, those are in Liberia and those who are here. It's a welcome news for us and for the Liberian people. So we hope that everything will soon be finalized. So now we'll be heard in most of the counties in Liberia, what's happening here, what happening in Liberia, and what affecting the people. At least we'll be able to reach the people now with real news.
Yeah, it being a tough one. This is something we have been contemplating on, but we have been very strategic and careful who and whom to align with. News now is being polarized. Politicians are predominantly in the news cycle is in their hands, so it's kind of difficult, but we are getting that. There were going to be a little bit rough edges, and I told him, and everything T-Max Jidate says on air, I agree with you, and certainly he will not agree with me. But a good thing we are getting all on the conference table to know exactly what we will do, what we can do. Liberia Public Radio runs online news network and a very informative official website. So for the most part, a lot of the interviews and conversation that we'll be having, they will be transcribed as well, and those content are going to be posted. So that's going to be a huge one here. How you think this thing going to go like?
Oh, look, I'm very excited, and I think it will be wonderful. But here's the thing here. In the news business, it's not everything that people would in the business will do agree on. But the whole thing I say is the way we respond and react to our colleagues, because the newspaper, you don't let your emotion to take over you, to take charge of you, because you're meeting people with diverse views, and you must be willing to accept people's views. You may disagree with them, but just being respectful and show your disagreement and move forward. It's not anything to be confrontational. Okay, so that is why on this platform we hold one another accountable. That's why we come with different views from different backgrounds, but we do allow ourselves to express ourselves, and make our point to the public. So that is the interesting about the Liberian Public Radio, and I show that
and that's one of the things I stress. I like, hey, nobody can put finger in. You don't just deliberately put finger in my throat because I have teeth. I'm going to bite you. So if you don't get my consent and you think you're going to do it, and I think they understood that with veterans like Martin Brown. He's a legendary. And guess what? When he was with DC, the last time we went, he never talks about it. But the last time he said, I believe when I was at DC, are you the guy that did an application just in that time, things just went loose? And I say, yes, Martin, I am the one. He said, okay. I think I've been following your conversation extensively, so pretty well we will get along. So I said, Martin, Liberia needs you more than ever before. Come on. You shouldn't be in retirement. And then Team I was like, okay, you know what? I wish you luck because this is something that we have been talking about. But we got to do everything possible, even if that 30 minutes, legendary Martin Brown needs to come to make his voice heard. Okay, so what is happening in Liberia is quite fascinating. Inside, outside here, is the media doing what they should be doing as well to keep up to speed the listening public in making informed decision? Or are we part of the problems of what is ongoing?
Yes, we are part of the problem. And what I see happening in the media is with some of the institutions, you start wondering where they stand. Because we say this, no, you allow yourself to become part of the story, to be part of the story. No. And this is why you see most of the media houses in Liberia becoming part of the story. Instead of telling the story now, they become the subject. Now people got to be talking about them. And that is a serious problem because as a media institution, you are only there to give out the facts. Let the listening public make the judgment, But when you start inserting yourself into the issue, then of course, people now start questioning your credibility. You see, give her the information as it is and let the people make the judgment. And those are the public. Let the public make the judgment. But today, it's a little bit what you call gotcha, this yellow journalism, people becoming a reporter becoming very confrontational. And, and it's not supposed to be like that. There are ways you can get your facts, ask a question to get the issue across. But when you become very confrontational, then of course,
probably that's the way of being tough. But that's not a way of being tough. You got to be it because if you are looking for the news, you have to do everything possibly. Your focus there is to get the news to the listening audience. And that's what I said on TMAX. It is unfortunate. It doesn't matter which government is in place. There's something that they call media and governmental relationship. That's key. That's very, very much important because the media, the full estate is there to intercede for the general public. They're not working for the government. So I don't care how they try to pin them down. They have to do everything possibly they can to get the information. That doesn't mean you should disrespect. You should be very much hostile to the government. No, that it doesn't work. But there must be that sort of coordinated relationship, leadership within the media, like the PUL and other media that exonerate. You have to create that sort of good atmosphere, liaise with the authorities so that your folks, your reporters can go and give a coverage, have a coverage in turn that news will come back to the beneficiaries that happen to be the listening audience because or the public. But if you just think because you're a newsman, you want to always create a drama because people lost drama and people more or less pivot in the directions of drama, then of course that's it violates that as well. We have a very consequential time, couple of months ahead, 2023, which happens to be both presidential and we're going to be having two major elections, both parliaments, houses. So it's going to be tense. What should we be doing now? What should be the focus of the media as we get closer to this sort of what appears to be a very critical issue for Liberia?
Well, I think this, people always say this election is one of the most important elections. Again, you know, always say the election is the election. So, but this one,
how can people pull hook on that? Every election is an important election. Yeah. So I don't know why.
We always say this election is very important. But here's the thing here. The election in Liberia, the coming 2023 election, there are certain things will happen. The opposition and the government. President, we are now.
Where is there opposition? I hate to intercept opposition.
Yeah, I mean, despite what we'll get to that, despite with all the Rickman Road, the name still hang there, so we can't say there's no opposition. But here's the thing here. President Weah will be defending his record. It's not that 2017, he had no record. He had nothing to defend. He was walking in as this claim gentleman. Now, 6 years will be going. Now, the Liberian people now will have to take stock of his success and failure. And based on that, they will determine whether they can grant him another 6 years. The same thing go for parliament. But what is the scrutiny that will come on? Because everything that Mr. So this time around will be under the microscope. And it is the responsibility of the press.
Wow, so why wasn't it there initially? What did we miss? Why?
What has happened to us is we take our personality over the country. Personality that is include popularity and things, we put it above the country. Because of this issue, then the second component is the tribal thing. We put.
It's yet the tribal thing, it has not been undone.
No. So these are issues now. We need to start asking the electorates, why you want to vote for this man? Is it because he's a tribal or is it because he's popular? Can he deliver?
Watch your microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better.
Yes, somewhat, yeah. These are the questions that the electorates must be asking the people. What is your platform? How are you going to achieve it? Where is the money going to come from? You were there 6 years, 9 years. Why didn't you do this? Why are you doing it now? So these are real questions. The press need to dig deeper and call the people experience or people who are in office risk to go for second term or third term. They need to start asking people these questions. And the community must be sensitive that look, it is not time that these people come to the local area, to the districts or county seat and debate the issue. Tell us what you're going to do and how you're going to achieve it. Where is the money going to come from? What are the laws you're making that will have a direct impact on us. So these things, and the only people that are charged with the responsibility is the press. So the press in this coming election has a greater responsibility because the entire society cannot talk to all these people at the same time. So they depend on the fourth estate to ask the relevant questions. But if the fourth estate is not doing it, then of course there is a mass failure on the part of the fourth estate and the Liberian people.
Okay, all right. So we are going to be on edge, and moving forward, we're going to be providing political advertisement, political promotions, as long as paid for. Anyone can come and subscribe. Let's take a quick commercial break. This is from the Friends of Alexander Cummings. Let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be back. My man, Amos George, is a senior political analyst of the Liberia Public Radio. I'm Alphonso Zean Soe. We'll be right back.
There are 5 priorities we have, and we call that the what's. And then there are 5 things we call the how we'll do it. And those priorities are as follows. Our first priority is infrastructure. Simply put, it's electricity, it's roads, it's water, and it's internet and cell phone connectivity across Liberia. We have to invest in infrastructure. That is the top priority. That's the basis on which we can and will do everything else. The second priority for us is job creation. There are too many unemployed, underemployed, and unemployable Liberians. The unemployment rate is over 85%. And therefore, job creation is our next priority, creating jobs for the Liberian people. The next priority is agriculture. We are a country that do not fear ourselves. These are things we can do for ourselves. We should be producing rice to feed ourselves. And my commitment is that by the end of my first term in office, we will be self-sufficient in rice production. And within education, we are focused on vocational training, teachers training, and adult education. But we have to educate our young people because, again, that's how we can help them create jobs. That's how we can train farmers. And so these things are all linked together. And our final priority in terms of the what's is health. Because you can have good infrastructure, you can have a good job, you can feed yourself, you can have great education, but if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter. And so health is our 5th priority, and there we're focused on primary health care and preventive health care. So those are the what's we'll do for our people, for the Liberian people. How are we going to do these things? The first how is we want to engage Liberians differently in the transformation of our country. We call this hearts and minds. How do we get all Liberians to participate in the changes that are required? We're going to use arts and music and culture and reconciliation and religion. All of these things, we will be deliberate in using these things to engage us as a people in this transformation process. And so we're doing some work on how we can make those things happen. The next how is that we're going to find the money. We have to find the resources, the money, to do all of the what's I mentioned earlier. And the way we'll find the money is first, we'll go after waste in government. You know, we spend a lot of money on things that we don't need, or we pay too much for things that we do need. So for example, I believe the vehicles we buy for our government officials, we spend too much money on that. We should reduce the number of vehicles, and we should buy less expensive vehicles for our.
From the West African nation of Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia Public Radio and Television present Business Diary. This program focuses on the activities of business institutions and individuals in society.
I'm Jeremiah Senior,
CEO of All Nation Bank. It have been very good to have this business established here. We are 1 year since we opened here in Anono. There have been few challenges here that have faced in this country, and that is all about the language. But here instead, I refuse to be deterred. I refuse to be discouraged. I open a business and things have been fine.
My name is Mercy Bangarilanga. I am a finance officer working for an international organization. I have a master's degree in business administration. So today I'd like to take the opportunity to talk to you about the COVID pandemic and how it has affected the business sector in terms of me working in an organization, an international organization.
Don't miss out. Be my guest. It's coming soon on Liberia Public Radio and Television.
Okay, that's our commercial. Our own man, Bender, is Liberia Public Radio's News Anchor Bureau in the West African state of Ivory Coast, Abidjan. Business director looks at entrepreneurs and Liberians making a meaningful impact despite of them being in exile. And that's the diversity of Liberia Public Radio. We kind of like open up and just on the politics. We look at other aspects and other things in life. Okay, so that's it. Look, I can't wait to talk to this guy here, and the phone lines is still working, playing his vision here. But we need to have an extensive conversation. Don't just tell me infrastructure by outlining then good makes we heard those millions of jobs being people come out. I'm going to create this job and this job. We heard that before, so I'm not going to use that as a face cap to say that it's going to happen until I have a conversation, because I haven't heard from these people how they're going to downsize government. Mr. George, these people with their million supporters jumping in the streets, dancing, chanting, shouting, they need job. Where were you placed then after their whole 2-3 years support? How would they be incorporated? So we need to have a conversation of these people here.
Yes.
I'm not a guy who believes in oversizing government. No, I'm not a liberal. I'm a moderate Democrat. You see, Joe Manchin, this is why he's a figure. Before Joe Biden stuff goes through, Manchin is the bone in the throat, because he's just not believes in just wasting or just giving. No, people should work for it.
Yes, and Mr. Soe, Liberia, if there's good government, you don't have to oversize the government. You can downsize the government. Because
what do you mean by when there's a good government?
Because a good government.
What constitutes what the components or what it can be? Let's break it down here. Let's not create. Let's not be ambiguous here to our people here.
Okay.
So they can say, oh, people say there's a bad government. What constitutes a good government?
A good government is one that will seek the welfare of all its citizens. That includes basic goods and services, education, healthcare, roads.
Just comment somebody you jumping into now.
No, but that's when you said, because the government is not just doing one thing. It's simultaneously a holistic approach to everything. Because you can't say, I will just focus on building schools and they bring out a hospital. The schools are, no role. They can't take, the salaries are down. All these things, a good government will constitute that. So what I mean, a good government will be in a position to attract foreign investors. Because a good government, the people will have confidence in that government that, look, you see, you can do business with these people. Look at the system. Look at the courts. The rule of law, how it's being applied, how it's interpreted, how it's enforced. These are all components of good government. You cannot have good government and when any other thing lacking, that government is in problem. Now, jobs, people talk about job. Yes, Take, for example, since 1989, the sewer system in Monrovia has been down. The sewer system in Liberia is now functioning. So, if you have a good government that will go and attract investors to come and say, invest in our sewage system. Other area that the sewer, because I did some international water and sewer. The sewer system does not cover the entire Monrovia.
No.
It's from Looking Down Resto, ACS. That's where the sewer system starts. Congo Town, Painsville, there's no Gallafie, there's no sewer system in that area. So if you have an investor come that will rehabilitate the sewer, the old system, then start to expand it. Those jobs are jobs, some of it don't need people with professional, because it's physical. Some of the people will be digging, then you have the people laying pipes. That alone, Mr. Soe, will create a whole lot of jobs. Those are private sector jobs. The same thing, LEC. Privatizes. Let the private people put their money. Because LEC, electricity is essential. People need these things to provide services. The company will expand. And as the company expands, it will hire our people. You go to water and sewer, the water, there's no pipe. The pipe that are running in Painsville coming to Monrovia, from White Plains to Monrovia, Painsville, all what Painsville doesn't have water, pipe and water. If you have companies that will take those contracts, they will hire citizens to do the work. Those are the competence of good government to deliver goods and services. So if a government is doing those things, they will not be worried about employing partisans, because there will be jobs up there for the people to go to. But look, when these things are lacking, then what the people can do, when government can, you take all the people that are campaigning for you, you go, you got 10 men fine paper in one office. 7 men sitting on one temperature. Waste of government resources. You got schools that need to be rehabilitated.
Okay, so let's type here now. This will not roller skating here.
Yeah.
Why are these conversations not being kept? And so will you agree with me that we need to take this conversation from the hands of the politicians so that we can redirect the conversation? Because the politicians are getting away, because we are driven into their boogie, little bit funny stuff, and nobody is keeping the focus. So we are not even discussing the issue. And we think we want to get a good result when the issues are not discussed. People, and what I was just telling them, people telling us here, they're going to do this. You have some, Facebook Live, that's it. But that should not be a routine. Focus when you leave work, take phone, telephone, call some of the people that you disagree with, and you share notes. Look, yes, you're a sedition. I'm a Liberty Party man. I'm a Unity Party. I'm a ANC. I'm a ALP or whatever, especially those that are in Parliament or in the House. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to propose. Do you think it's good for the country? Or you do your print and give it to your other colleagues on the side, maybe on the same committee, despite you from different party, and see the land of reasonings, whether you can get that support and that piece of legislation can be passed or be put into law for the good of the country. Those people, they don't do that. They don't even call one another to say, let's go have a lunch, let's go have a breakfast so we can talk something outside of the capital. They don't. And they come, they say they're having classes and all sort of stuff, and think that's nonsense. And we are driven into the gutter of the behavior of these people. It's a political ploy. It's a good calculation so that we can't even extend your classes or whatever you're going to do. It should be done in chambers with your colleagues and see those issues that are affecting the country. They don't.
No, Here's the thing here.
They want to do individual stuff.
Yes. They want to put money in the budget. Or I gotta go, I have like little engagement. But why people cannot sit down and say, you know what? All the money here, this year we direct the money into this other region for this project. These projects have been identified. Let the money go there. We're not going to let the government, let the executive run these things. It's not our business to go and be doing all these things. No. They will not formulate policy that would directly benefit the people. No.
All right. The conversation is about to get more interesting. Our contributor is here. And let's see here to get his side, making it proportional. We don't believe in big names. We want to bring in young folks, people. Then that's the strategy of LPR. We got to make people retire. I shouldn't be here. And I like Joao Martin Brian. Let me bring in our mentor, Victor, on the other end here, is a contributor to the Liberia Public Radio. Let's see. Let's have a conversation here. Okay. So, Vic, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Soe, and welcome back to the United States. On behalf of my family and the people of Charlotte, North Carolina, we'd like to extend our deepest condolence to you and the entire family in the New England Bay Area. And also to you, Mr. Amos George from Atlanta, I'd like to say good evening to you also, and thank you for all you do for Liberia.
Okay. Okay, so good. So what you do, just lift, elevate your camera a little bit. There you go. Okay. Hey, you are waterman. You like being by the sea, eh?
Apropos, man, we the poor people will let sea business.
Or your fisherman, you like eating fish.
I won't go there. I won't go there. You say you popo man.
Okay.
The poor people, they let the Bassa people. The poor people from Togo, they let the Bassa people from Liberia. We let water bene.
They let water bene. All right.
Bassa men live by water, but they don't pay too much water. They let it need.
So let's get our intake here. Where a big collaboration is in the making. LPR with that of SCAR Communications, and hopefully Team Max and I we will be sharing, and we'll be doing a lot of news content. Sharing those conversations behind the scene. They are almost conclusive, and we can publicly say that they're going to be good. So, good or bad news?
Very positive news. As a matter of fact, coming from one of Liberia's finest and veteran. As a matter of fact, like when I was listening to your intro, I heard you say that when you had a conversation with him, it was like you were encouraging him at least to do 30 minutes to come back on the radio. But it's a good thing. But I also think that Mr. Brown has played his part in the Liberia media landscape. Mm-hmm. A lot of people whom he has trained over the years should now be able to step into his footprint and do the necessary. I don't think it's quite necessary for him to come back, but once in a while he can chip in when it is necessary. But certainly I also think that there are a lot of people he have trained over the years from different media institutions, and if they have forgotten their notes, they need to go back to their notes and
need to go back.
Recap some of the things that they have learned from him over the period of years. But I think LPR partnering with one of Liberia's finest media institutions, Sky Communications Network, which has been around for quite a while now, I think is a very good thing. Mr. Soe, who is a veteran in the business, collaborating with T-Max Njirate and Mr. Martin Brown is a brilliant thing. The only thing is that we will have to, look at our old man, Mr. Samson Brown.
The liberal.
The liberal. Our own liberal. You know, we gotta look at our own laborers
You know,
sometimes.
they
We
saying
come in with the
just make
veterans.
sure they get a saying there's no bad boy for a child. But
Yeah,
the liberal
because
is our owner, man. There's nowhere that we can pull him. So
that's
you
true.
get
Because
people
Mr.
saying
So,
he can't
you know
feel
the thing?
more. Nobody here can feel him more when you realize.
That's true. You know the liberal quit the somersault.
Eh.
You remember before you went like brother, the liberal somersault there one Sunday.
Oh.
So that's why we gotta watch out for the liberal. But you know, just a little bit of spice it a little bit. But it's a good thing. LPR and Sky is gonna be a bomb during this electoral process because
the liberal to counter
the media landscape is a little bit polarized. That's why we need a little balance from other independent media institutions.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? They say everybody get a follower. They remember the time I enter Sky, the very first thing guy was asking, what is the liberal here? I'm like, seriously? I who pay my way and come here, you can't asking me about liberal? The liberal is on a suspension. So, we can enjoy the liberal. I'm like, really? Seriously? Anyway, I'm telling you, everybody get a follower anyway. So let's have a conversation now. Let's take it on the bigger page. Liberia Public Radio is reporting that the VP will be going to testify. Will he show up? And what sort of testimony is he going to give? The other day I was hearing that he doesn't know Cummings. How can that be reconciled with some of the followers? He was the one that introduced Cummings in the politics of Liberia, and what will his political future be like? We not know the details of what he's going to be saying. And I was shocked when I was on 50/50 Samuka, who used to be an insider of ALP. I heard that there was a core group, and I'm going to be breaking here. There was a core group that was created, and these parties apparently they were falling away on. Only ANC did not know. And according to his Samula, if we were to go back to one of the videos, that the purpose for that core group was to destroy Alexander Cummings, the new kid on the block. The man is not open. He go look at the Glangla man and go phone with them, say they're going to do collaborate. Yeah, let's look at the man last. The man, he ain't ready. They will wash your face with salt water. But it's quite interesting. If what they are saying, and I've not heard anybody to deny that. So that itself, that's another puzzle of it. So what is he going to say tomorrow? What can we predict? Any possible prediction, by George?
No.
You want to talk to the liberal? Maybe the liberal can tell us what he's going to be saying.
Yeah. No. Here's the thing, Mr. So. The VP yesterday testimony, it's troubling for me. And I do not expect anything dramatic tomorrow if he do appear. In fact, I heard that he was telling the Solicitor General that, and then that will be his last time coming, he doesn't want to come. So I think he's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable because yesterday,
putting into a situation that he cannot handle.
Yeah, he's uncomfortable, and I also blame him for it because as a senior statesman, this thing should have been handled by him because that one of the credentials that people gave him. He should have handled this thing because his own testimony yesterday. It means that he's not in charge. And some of the reason I'm saying this. Mr. So, you and myself, we all here. We get it that we want to do something. We put a piece of paper together. And it come out and say, oh, no. There's some changes need to be made because there's an outcry from the public. Let's anybody, the people who prepare it. The legal people. They go and prepare it. You say, oh, okay. Should have been sent to a committee, a vetting committee to look at it and everything and come back to us. From that point, you say you didn't see the document again. But then you go to attend a signing ceremony. You go to receive a certificate that the document has been submitted. You receive a certificate. Then you go, you put people on to work, to use that certificate to get job.
Even though you didn't receive.
You say you are not seeing the document. Then you come back after 1 year plus, and you say, oh, we never saw the document. If you did not see the document, how can you convince me that the document that was submitted is not it? Where's your own copy?
Okay, let me hold you right there. Let's make it more proportional here, because I try to see what I can get the Boyka folks. The liberal could answer my phone call. You go, his gate to is tower. Let me just bring in Victor here. When we are doing everything possible, very shortly, in a short time frame, I'm going to be having Mr. Cummings here working, and they have agreed on a gentleman level. He could be appearing here for the second time. Look, Victor, this collaboration here, does it still give Liberian people a hope?
My direct answer to you is no.
Why?
The collaboration, yeah. So I want to state the reason. So the collaboration doesn't give the Liberian people any hope. Reason is, from all sides of the political leaders' angle, you can visually see that nobody wants to give in for the cause of the people, even though when you listen to them, you will hear them say, we want to redeem the Liberian people, but on the other hand, what are they doing to redeem the Liberian people? Because if you want to redeem the Liberian people, then in my mind, I don't think you should be in court for an alteration that cannot be verified for over the past 5 months. An alteration. According to you, this document was altered. And we are in the 5th month of a trial. And to this date, there is no document that not Mr. Cummings nor Ambassador Joseph Yeman Boyka, who have appeared for at least twice now in court, can prove to us that a document was altered or was not altered. So Mr. Boyka appears and admit to the fact that, yes, we as political leaders assigned a document. And I, representing the Unity Party, also agree that we need to make changes to some of the things that was in the document. We did contact a lawyer. We all agreed to send the document. For the fact that you agree that this document should go to a lawyer already simplifies that this document is going to be altered, because the original of the document is going to be changed to something else. Now, what Mr. Boyka don't want to agree to is the document that was presented to NEC is different from the document that he saw previously. But he also cannot show us the previous document that he signed. So I don't think, in my mind, when I listen to our politicians, it seems to me that they think the people they're speaking to, the people are stupid. I'm sorry to say. Because that's how it feels like, and that's how it sounds like. Because if you say you signed one document and did not sign the other document, but also cannot show us the first document that you claim you signed, then I'm kind of confused right there.
Let's put this thing in the basket here. Who is the verifier of this document? We form a collaboration here, let's say 4 of us here, and we agree and we have this document submitted. And out of the sudden, for whatever reason, Victor did not sign or George, and we send it to the committee or the group that is responsible. They are there to verify and to establish the authenticity of that document. In this case, is NEC. So I'm wondering here, probably maybe I've not heard that. You guys better may understand it. Has NEC raised any concern? Well, we received 2 documents, because I've been hearing crazy stuff. One is a color, this and that. It's immaterial as far as I'm concerned. It's immaterial. If there is any issue with a specific document that was submitted to NEC, and NEC as the overseer of the electoral process in Liberia, whether we agree with them, we don't disagree, they will validate to say, this is inconclusive, this is incomplete, XYZ signature. How come this is not there, that is not there, that is not there? Has NEC cried out wolf?
No, NEC cannot raise any issue about this document. And he said, this is the document that was presented to us. And what Victor said again, what was the thinking of these people? Mr. Soe, again, let me go back. I just seen there's no email trace of the document. I just seen that the lawyer don't have a draft copy. Can Joseph Boakai and Belinda Uriel, can they go to the lawyer and say, okay, give what when you made the corrections, what you changed, what you didn't change, give a rough copy. Nobody can find any of the documents.
So this thing here, who would have said disadvantage? And that's the conversation I intend to have with Mr. Cummings. And if the boycott for, there's a pitfall, there's a downside to this whole thing here. You remember the Gallo and the GOL case?
Yeah.
Look, 2023 is next door. I have no idea as to when this thing will come to an end. Even though it's not a criminal case, it's not a felony, it's something that can deter somebody, but when it hangs over you and you're going into such a race, that also creates a political dent. So who has been politically suffocated in this whole thing here? Is that Cummings? Is that Boyka, or all of the above?
Well, I would say the CPP is the victim of this entire process. And if other politicians who are in the opposition are smart, I think it's about time that they rise up to the plate and start to spin their messages out correctly. Because the Liberian people have so much hope in the CPP. Not because Unity Party, who claim that they have some 400,000 votes kept in a vote that they're going to unleash 2023 October, or ANC, who also claim that they got 100,000 votes and came there. But the Liberian people felt like the CDC wasn't doing the right thing, and they needed that dark horse. And they felt like the CPP was that dark horse to come and, rescue them. Unfortunately, the CPP herself is not ready to take on the CDC. So in my mind, I think that the CPP is hurting herself. So if there's any other opposition political party out there, they should start strategizing, going out in the media more, giving out their platform and message to the Liberian people. If even they can do a house-to-house or door-to-door campaign, I think that will help them a lot. Otherwise, a second term is time for the CDC. Because when you talk to people in Liberia, when you talk to people in Liberia, Mr. So let me just rest on this point. A lot of people I talk to most of the time will tell me, hey, I supported the government, or I supported this party within the CPP, and I thought that the CPP coming together would have been a great deal for us. But as it stands right now, I think I might as well just go back either to the CDC or just forget about supporting either the UP or the ALP or the ANC and just support the CDC of Mr. Weah, and then we can just continue in the trend we are right now. So the people are becoming frustrated day by day when they see political leaders who should be advisors, who should be guardians, going to court, arguing about things that does not make no sense. We are in the 5th month of this trial. Nobody have come up to show any alteration, not even Mr. Urich, not even any alteration in the document.
Okay. All right, Mr. Joyce, I guess you wanted to come in?
Yeah, let me just add something to what he said. Look, the victim in this thing, one, the victims, Liberian people. Second is Mr. Alexander Cummings. And let me say this. You heard about the core group that these people, you see how our people behave. But I think Mr. Cummings wanted to show local station in Liberia the other day, and I came across them. He was asked, I think, how, Better made a statement that if Waka Cummings wants this thing, they can go back and draw and they can reconcile. And they asked Mr. Cummings, and he said, let me put it this way, he said, if they can go to court and withdraw their case, then we can sit down and talk. And to me, I said, that was a crack in this whole thing here. For I told Mr. Urich of Honorable Boakai, Yomi Kanga, all these people claiming that they got the country at heart. That statement, I told someone that taking advantage, and I said, look, you know what happened? Hey, we took our case to court. We can go and tell the government to withdraw the case, they will not want us. And I told them, they were going to say, you know what happened? Let us be like men and women and step up to the Liberian people. Let us go and withdraw the case from court. You know what happened? We brought our complaint, but we decided to go in-house and set our differences. I thought that one that the push we're talking about.
No, we don't want to let you do it at all. You can't just say you're okay to court. You have to court for
it's not a better case. It's not a better case. They can go to they can add you up to there and say, no, what happened? We do withdraw our complaint. Oh no, we have no alternative.
Why okay to court? The court gotta take that.
It's the thing here. And to the folks in the Boakai camp, in the Yomi Kanga camp, in the Benin Urich camp, and the Alexander Cummings camp. Because from that statement to me, Alexander Cummings is showing some goodwill. So it is not time people act like men and women for the sake of the Liberian people and say, you know what happened? We brought our case, we went home to settle our case. Because this thing, the Liberian people are suffering. Look at the GOL today. These people have been power for 5 years. They have not been able to create one direct foreign investment job in the country. That is a serious problem. And I feel for my fellow Liberians who say, let me tell them, this is what we have been doing in the country, and we continue to suffer it. Oh, you know what happened? What I will do? I will just say now, I'm going to say, let people do what they can do. No. You have to suffer to achieve something. If you're suffering now and you say you want another 6 more years of the same thing, when will you learn how to stand up for yourself? Liberian people must be very, very mindful. Yes, if something is not working, it's not working. Don't continue to say, God will make way. God will not make way for you. So I just want to tell our people, 6 more years of this government, maybe some may be around, maybe will not be around, but some of you people will never, your children will continue to suffer. And so the decision you make today, tomorrow, remember, it will affect your children. And tomorrow, I always say this here, Be very mature and come back into rule your children. This is the kind of mentality that Liberian people have. We have.
All right.
They don't want to provide the incentive for majority of people to achieve something because they have the pepper bird syndrome. They must all be up there dropping the pepper on the ground and the children fighting oil and they're taking everything. And we have to stop this thing. And in order to stop it, we have to make some hard choices, not just be quickly to settle, oh, we can't do nothing, my man. What we'll do? No, there are other alternatives. There are other political parties, other Liberians who are in this race or who get into the race.
The progressive are galvanizing. They want to resurrect. But for gentlemen, let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. I'm here with Amos George and our man Victor right here. The Liberal is on the run. He's unable to show face here this evening. Folks, we'll be right back.
Corruption in the presidency that will coordinate all of the agencies that are meant to find corrupt officials. Secondly thing we'll do is we'll make sure we are giving the resources, the money, the right people, the right logistics to the anti-corruption agencies, the LACC, Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, the General Accounting Office, the Public Procurement and Concessions Commission. We will make sure they got the right resources to go after corrupt officials. After that, when we find people who are corrupt, we will prosecute them, we will put them in jail, and we'll seize their assets. It will not be good enough for you just to resign. So those are the things we will do to really go after corruption. I have committed that I will not take a salary. The salary that is paid the president, I will allocate it towards helping to fight corruption. That's how important I think it is to us. And then the other way we'll find the money is we'll make sure we're getting full value, the full monies we're due from our natural resources. We'll look to exploit other natural resources so we can get the funds required to fund healthcare, to fund infrastructure, to create jobs, etc., etc. So finding the money is the second how. The next how is we want to create a government of inclusion. We want all sections of our country to be represented in the government. We want opposition political parties to be in government because we believe that having a government inclusion will help all of us make the right decisions. It will make sure that we're spreading the resources of our country across the entire country. And then the last two hows, one is growing the private sector. We will focus on growing the private sector so Liberians can primarily benefit from that growth. No longer should Liberian business people be spectators to our economy. And we want to actively support Liberianization and encourage and provide credit and other facilities to Liberian businesses so they can participate. And last but not least, we will use technology. We'll leverage technology to help us achieve our goals. So those are the what's and the hows. I thank you. God bless you. God bless the Republic of Liberia.
That's Alexander Benedict Cummings, Friends Jet, with that pay advertisement. This guy is revealing a lot of stuff and enough question is not being asked. I'm waiting to get that conversation to have a real-time conversations. I'm getting the sense of what his government, if elected president, I'm beginning to get a little sort of visual or picture of what his government going to look like, or where the focus, or where the direction going to be. But we need to have a conversation, and unfortunately, that is not happening. But I can for sure, at least we have something that he's putting his life on the line. Governmental inclusions, including the opposition. So when Alexander Cummings wins it, CDC becomes opposition. So I do have interest in knowing the inclusion of CDC, who are the people going to be coming in and how it's going to look like. A lot of things has been revealed, but we need to get inside of it. Okay, so gentlemen, the last 30 minutes for us to go. Let's see here. Let's go into your playbook. Amos George, is there something specific you want us to talk about?
I'm still not hearing any sound or movement of this Princess Copper autopsy.
That's what I want to host Tiawan Gonglo. Tiawan Gonglo, we should have had an interview, but I talked to his folks again today. Actually, he consented was to sit exclusively at his residence in Monrovia. The D was sealed up, but the crazy weather, the cold, and his voice was actually bad. There's no way that I myself could have honored if it were in my case. But that's still hanging up. But that's very serious. Well, let me go to Victor. Why are you trying to get a replacement of that? What is on top of your hair you think you want us to profile quickly?
Well, what I actually want to touch on is the issue of the airport. I will be honest with you.
That airport, I was learning that the other day, my man. Everybody is if don't let it cannot let go on. Don't do this thing to us, please. By the time we touched down the next group that came, it went up. Okay, so what's the deal with the airport?
So the issue of the airport is a very, very serious issue. And one thing I noticed about the CDC government is that I've always said this, and I will continue to say it. They are more reactive than they are proactive. And even when they are giving an advice, they don't take heed to the advice. So the issue of the airport has been around for quite some time. And the CDC government is blaming Madam Salif for quote unquote spending $50 million for a terminal that, in my mind, doesn't even worth $30 billion. But this same government stood up in front of a camera at the executive mansion and is requesting the Liberian people to provide half of what they are claiming Madam Salif wasted, or at least 43%, because they are requesting $23 million, according to them, that will help them to provide solar panel electricity for the airport. Isn't that a contradiction? That's one. For me, I feel that that's contradiction. If you're saying that the UP government spent $50 million to build a terminal that is not worth even a kitchen, and then you're requesting $23 million just to put up light at the airport, I'm kind of confused. That's one. Two, the president Weah nominated somebody to head the Liberian Airport Authorities. The Liberian Airport Authority comprises of the RIA, the James Springs P, the airports in Sino, the airport in Maryland. Yeah. That is the work of that person, but a lot of people don't know. People think that when they say head of the Liberian Airport Authority is just the RIA. No, it's for all airports in Liberia.
Right.
That is the position that person is going to handle. This guy gave the president a credential that is under serious scrutiny right now by the Liberian people, not even our international partners or other people, but just us, the Liberian people, are scrutinizing this guy's credentials. And
let me stop you right there, because sometimes we put play blame on places. Do you want to blame him for that?
Yes, I want to blame the president because
you say this guy. I'm asking whether you want to blame the gentleman or you want to blame the administration.
I want to blame the administration, not the gentleman. The gentleman, according to the information that we gather and that we've heard out there, is that this guy had talked to high echelons of the government, including the president. So he was interviewed. He gave his credentials. We are living in the 21st century, Mr. Soe. If this guy gave a credential to the government needed to do some background check. This man can tell you that he is a manager of a major aircraft company in the world, a sophisticated country, the United States. And you cannot even investigate him to find out whether he actually served in that position,
We are hearing
then
from
it baffled me a whole lot. Beyond that, Mr. Soe, beyond that,
yeah.
why are we looking outside when there are people right within? There are people right within Liberia who can manage and run the airport. Why are we looking for people only within our political parties? Why are we not looking outside of our political parties? And that's why the 5 minutes advertisement from Mr. Cummings, I think that advertisement should be encouraged to be played not only on LPR but on other media institutions in Liberia, because that recording is very encouraging when Mr. Cummings says that we will not only employ people from the opposition or the ANC, but rather we will look outside. This means that Mr. Cummings is ready to work on day one. I'm not selling him, but I'm being honest. This is where you know when people are ready.
Let me ask you, it seems to be that there's a growth of ANC sympathizers, Mr. Joyce. I don't mean to put you on the bus, but he's not a member, he's not a coward, but he's sympathizer. Maybe he believes in your political ideology. Have I asked you this question to where your political cap is leaning towards?
Yeah, you did ask me on the first day when I appeared on LPR on my debut. Yeah, you did ask me, and I told you that I'm not a member of the ANC, but I think I like the message of Mr. Cummings so far. I think he should be given a chance, and that's why I'm so mad with the CPP, especially the Unity Party, for not accepting a simple primary, whether Mr. Cummings wins or Mr. Boakai wins, but rather I hear people saying, oh, Mr. Cummings should just accept to go as vice president to Mr. It sounds so childish to me that if we cannot accept a simple primary in a political party, how are we going to accept the 2023 primary? How are we going to accept it? We should be able to accept a simple primary between 1,200 delegates. Then we are prepared to accept the bigger primary, at least of 1.5 million people. Then I know we are serious as Liberians. But beyond that, we are not ready. And that is our problem. And that's why our airport is dark, and we are appointing people who doesn't have a credential to run the airport. Up to this date, the president and the executive mansion have not withdrawn that nomination. People are wondering whether the Senate is going to confirm me. It's a yes for me, because that is where our problem is. That is one of our problems. The legislature is our big problem. They're only concerned about what they can put there for themselves. They will justify $30,000 that they take for something that they cannot make report for. But on the other hand, they will question President Weah for presidential project. That's the hypocrisy.
This is a big hypocrisy, being very disingenuous. Mr. George.
Yeah, let me just add on to what Victor said about the airport. This is a national security issue. Airports in Liberia is a national security issue. And I don't know how the Weah administration is taking this thing. We're going almost 5 years into the presidency of President George Manuel Weah. There's no more there's no more shipping blame. Anybody not shipping blame, I tell you, you're wasting your time. You took over the government 5 years now, almost 5 years. You are in opposition for 12 years. You pointed out all the ills, the mistake of the MF. You are pointing out you were ready, said they want you to solve this problem. Now you come in, it's only to be given excuses. President Weah was the one who dedicated this airport. The question, some of the questions it come to mind is that the people that built the airport, what was the thinking of the Liberian government? Not to maintain the people for a year, 2 to 3, the local staff had to run or to maintain those equipment.
The management.
Even if it was not in that contract, you should have said, you know what? We got to make some amendment. You can't just build it and walk away. We need you people for 1 to 2 years to train the local staff how to operate the equipment. Let us go into the budgetary allotment. Let's see what we can pay and how we can pay it. These people never did anything. They allowed the Chinese to walk away. Now, if the Chinese walk away, how do you maintain those equipment? These are serious problems that the Liberian people, I don't know our people. They are not asking this question. They don't want to raise the issue because we are all partisans. When I support President, we are the government. I don't see anything wrong with it. All I know is the past government didn't do anything. Those are the issues we should be talking about. You can't spend $50 million or whatever on an airport that people are working and cannot maintain the facility. It's insane to tell anybody that kind of thing there. And this has always been our problem. The maintenance of our infrastructure, the low we cannot maintain it. Right now, if you go in the Capitol building, there's no flush. The sewer system is not working. No. Imagine. How much it cost for the people to build a water tower on the ground of the Capitol building? How much will it cost? Give it into consideration. If each lawmaker is taking $30,000, multiply that by 32 in 6 years. Are you seeing they could not put a water tower in that building on the ground of the Capitol to supply the entire building? That they will have 24-hour water, but you have our mind and power that people are using to throw water and carry upstairs to put in the bathroom.
Go see go see Fanatical compound. They get current 24/7, but you have the Capitol, and the police come to go there sweating the Christmas and it's just.
And this is why they'll get to me. I say, do these people ask themselves? I cannot be running a $5 car. The place I go sit down to work is smelling. People got to bring water by gallons.
Okay, we have a little time left.
This Princess Copper autopsy, and I think we need to get in touch with counsel to tell us the status of that case, because this is what people notice about us. 2 weeks will make the noise. After 2 weeks, it gone by. And as we talk about Princess Copper, there are other bodies being found around Monrovia again. So this thing here is very important. I always say this: if it don't happen to you, you will not know. It's Cynthia Copper. Everything going down again like Odell Sherman. Dying down. The Liberian people must hold the government accountable for these things that happen in our country. Every life of any Liberian is important. What a deal, man, or wow. Any Liberian that died mysteriously to me is just as important as any of my relatives. And I think the local media, we that are in the business, we should continue to keep this story alive. Princess Copper and others that had died naturally mysteriously, and there had not been a complete investigation to conclude, to give with the cause of death of these people. These are Liberians. It don't have to be your sister, your aunt, or your niece.
Yeah. And I think the counselor wrapped a coil around his neck, because remember he told the media that the family should look up to him.
Yes.
Remember? So I'm wanting to have that sort of conversation, because now all of these things that we are talking, gentlemen, as we are about to take it, does it provide us enough breathing room that we should begin, and it is right for us to shift the conversation and begin to see these people, their surroundings, people that they hang out with. I'm talking about political leaders. We should begin to see the skeleton type, who going to be like in what ministry or what agency. I mean, even though the campaign has not started, But we should get a sense of these people, who are some of the advisors, who their domestic advisor, who's their foreign policy advisor, who is their secretary, because those are the people that are going to stand behind the microphone, presidential press secretary. You know, there came a time here, James Saki, who was now with Obama, was the face of the campaign, was the official spokesperson. But these people, you have motive. You don't know who is who represent who, because anybody can wake up in the morning, and because they are a loyalist or they started with the party from day one, they speak, whether it's official or it's not official, nobody knows it, but they are member of the party, and the hierarchy of the party does not come out to say, oh, this is an official statement. So they too play that sort of fine line because they do not want to be held to certain thing. It's a time that we see the true representations of these political parties, people that they hang out with, or is it that they are not sure whether the people are going to remain with them, that we can see them. We need to start getting a sense of the kind of people that, because that will also give us a clue their decisions and administrative decision making. But more or less, it's only the leaders or 1 or 2%. I think that is unfair to the Liberian people.
Yes, and Mr. Soe, let me say this. And I hope when we get Mr. Cummings, we're pushing on this. Because what you say is
a question that I really want to ask, but
because
wait till he himself comes.
Yes. During the campaign, we saw Susan Wright,
yes,
former security advisor. They all were on the trail for Joe Biden. And we saw other people that today, like the chief of staff of Joe Biden.
You can make the educated guess that, yes, if Joseph Parker is elected, this person will be there. If Comey is elected, this person will be this.
Yeah. Or this girl, Jean-Pierre, who is now the press secretary.
Deputy press secretary.
Yeah. These are all people who are out there putting up a policy, defending the policy of Joe Biden. I mean, the presidential candidate, putting out his policy. So now it's no exception. And I would like to know from all people.
Like a foreign policy advisor.
Yes. So, and if Mr. Cummings can know the people here, folks are listening, and will be asking this question on national security? Who will be addressing some of the issues? Violence in the country. Or they can have a coming president, how they're going to solve this issue. Okay, foreign policy. How they're going to navigate out there.
Domestic.
Yeah. So these are the question now that I say the press, we should be pressing.
Quote, and we're not even saying anything.
You ask people, they say, oh no, I'm a member of the party, but I'm not official, so I'm not speaking my official. We don't want to, we want surrogate who will tell us something about Joe Biden, who will tell us something about Mr. Cummings, that we can say, okay, we know how Mr. Cummings is thinking on this issue, because that person is an inside source and official surrogate of XYZ. And that is very important. These are some of the things that I'm seeing the press. We should not be lazy again, because that will determine to know how this person will be moving. Because Joe over there, when he can't say no, I'm not speaking about Liberty Party, Unity Party. I'm just speaking as an individual. Mr. Costa, Mo Ali is the secretary. That's the only person we see that talk. But other than these people, who are the policy making people?
In a real world, political party, Mo Ali shouldn't even be around the executive of Unity Party. That's some of the problem. And when people talk, people get mad.
Mo Ali now be able to Joseph Boakai do. If you want to see Joseph Boakai become president, you want to see Joseph Boakai to see Mo Ali, Joel Lobo, and Henry Costa.
That's crazy. Hey, Victor, go ahead.
So let me comment on this. So what I think is that one of the reasons why the politicians in our country will not set up a strategic team to go out there is because they play on the gullibility of the people. Now, in Liberia, we don't have a scientific pool. Just because we conducted some media poll from a favorite politician, media favorite institution, and we have over 20 callers calling in to say Mr. Soe can be the next president, we believe that, yes, the people favorite Mr. Soe. So there is no reason why somebody should go out there to talk about Mr. Soe national security issue when he become president, or Mr. Soe health benefit for the country, or Mr. Soe infrastructure development project for the country. We believe that automatically that puts Mr. Soe in the lead. Therefore, he should sit back and relax. If he feels comfortable in talking to Lpr, then he goes on Lpr. If he doesn't feel comfortable, if his team around him say, oh, Lpr, oh, that the people down there, don't go there, then he stays away. That is how our politics is being played. We play to the gullibility of the people. Now, the media institution who should help us, they are not. These media institutions will shield these politicians 2023. They will shield them from going for debate. They will shield them from interviews. They will not ask them the hard questions and lots of other things. At the end of the day, it will be left with the people to say, oh, I think I was just wrong with CDCO because that is injured I know. Or seeing Joseph Baga was with UP before, let me just support it. That is how our elections are being held. We do not scrutinize our leaders. We do not ask the hard questions. We do not feel comfortable. Hey man, what Mr. Soe asking the man that kind of question for? Those are our thought process when it comes to electioneering in Liberia. And that's why we always elect the wrong people to the right positions. And at the end of the day, we cry for 9 years. We cry 6 years. We cry another 6 years. And those years are not just years that will just come back anytime. It takes time for it to come back. If you elect a senator for 9 years and you give me another 9 years, that's 18 years. If you born a child in 2020 that Darius DeLong became a senator and Darius DeLong doesn't do anything for 9 years, and you re-elect him, that's 18 years. Your child will be 18 years when Darius DeLong leaves the Senate, or if you re-elect him. So that is our problem, Mr. Soe. That is our problem, Mr. George. We don't scrutinize our leaders.
Where is Senator Dillon, by the way?
Oh, he has a big fence around his house now, from what I heard.
I thought he said you were not going to.
Look, I know, but Mr. Soe, you were there. You interviewed the man last time. When you go interview the man?
No, I went back there. I tried getting, you know, when they won it, they would do everything. They would be so submissive. But as soon as they forget it. Twice I have tried, but you know, their phone now they get a while. Call, I know,
caller ID,
whatever detected now. They, oh, I will talk to the man, blah, blah, blah. But it is what it is. Okay, gentlemen, we're going to be back here definitely tomorrow. Let's see what the old man going to say. Why kept pushing this? I don't understand. I don't understand. And on a serious note, I know it will sound ridiculous, and people, as it is right now, if people do not redirect their thinking and come to their senses, believe me, the CDC government will be re-elected. That what happens when there is no hope and people put all their hopes and expectation in you, and at the end of the day, you dash it away. Yes, it's bad, but there are some other little good things going on. So the last time, first month ago plus, when I went to Grand Gita, it was horrible. Now, they're being a little bit strategic, selective, but my understanding is the ambassador project, but the idea, something is going. So if these politicians, these people that are looking for, if they are not strategic, if they can't fine-tune their message, and they just think they're going to walk over with the Liberian people, there are two things going to happen. That's one going to disadvantage the people. If it stays like this, Either people stay away from voting, which of course, if you talk to most of the people now, they are disappointed. I even get time for them. And I can tell you, CDC or seditions, they are high cold. They are like the Chinese. They don't give up. So if people fail to turn out, it would be to the advantage of with the CDC.
Yeah, the ruling party.
And the way this whole thing is moving like this, the whole CPP or the whole collaboration is fragmented. If it doesn't end on a good note, to smoke some sort of peace pipe and say, okay, we'll give it to Boyka, guess what? Communist folks gonna stay away. Either they go vote, they will vote with anger and vote against him, or in fact, we're not going there at all. Vice versa is on the other side. And then who's going to benefit? The ruling establishment. That's my own sort of analysis here based on people that we talk to, because you talk to people now, other people, the way I was looking at the last time they was so this time, and I even care because people did not get time for people. Now, when people build that sort of that wall of Jericho, when it's built within the mind, it's been put into practice. It becomes like a thought process to them. And then what happened? Eventually, they act on it. Gentlemen, what a good conversation. You see how peaceful this evening, when the laborer is not here, we can have a peaceful conversation. I hope tomorrow you still get most time off that he shouldn't even show up.
Please leave my brother. Okay? We all
like you. You want to come be in a defense here?
That's my brother. Man, you always say there's no bad place to throw a child. That's my brother.
Oh, you want to hold me up my wall?
Yeah.
But I'm waiting for folks, those of you that are just joining us. We're going to be having, I will not say collaboration, because collaboration is not a good thing. The first people that went to collaborate, created chaos.
They went and left their baggages outside.
Yes, so we will be having a news content, sharings of news content with SCAR and LPR. It's going to take some time. We're going to be making adjustments, both entities, where we're going to have some evening broadcasts from day broadcasts. And there's a need. All of these people we hold in must be held accountable. And we need to redirect the conversation, because these politicians, they have been very strategic and take the conversation, and people are losing sight of it. These people, we need to start telling them. They need to start telling us where is their website that we can find their blueprint, green print, black print, or whatever, and that we can hold them on. And that's why, for the most part, I like what Comey lays out. He giving us a sense of what he wants to do, but there are more explanation. I want to know the thousands of ANC supporters that are behind. If elected, what becomes of them? Is he going to increase the size of government? Will he be bringing them into government? Where would they be? I want to know. So I think all of these folks, for the president, well, he has nothing much in the sense that he's equipping, and he can say, well, I can continue to give him more time to something. But they who are looking for the job, they have to be on the defense and tell exactly how they're going to do it differently. And stuff like that. Well, Victor, Amos, George, I want to thank you so much for your sharing your thoughts this evening here. What are you leaving us with? What do you think going to happen? Every other time we wake up, some sort of breaking news or something. Any predictions? What are you hearing from your end?
Well, okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So for me, like I said previously, these people continue to play on the gullibility of the people. Therefore, they try to bring us stories that will cover the next stories. The Liberian people need to wake up. And I will continue to throw this out to the Liberian people. Instead of us sitting on the fence, we need to leave the fence and jump in the fence, because we are part of those who build the fence. Let's not sit on the fence, but rather jump in the fence to make the walls of the fence real solid. It's about time that we scrutinize our politicians, our radio talk show hosts, our journalists or journalists, we have to scrutinize them. We got to ask some of the critical questions. The uncomfortable questions are the right questions. We shouldn't see the uncomfortable questions as the wrong questions. You may think that the uncomfortable question, Mr. Cummins, Mr. Boyka, Mr. Gonglo, President Weah will not answer. But when we ask those questions, it brings out the best of these politicians. It brings out the best of Mr. Cummins. It brings out the best of Mr. Boyka. It brings out the best of President Weah. So we should ask this question. President Weah did not go to debate. Let's not repeat the mess of 2017. Let's see 2023 as our roadmap to a new Liberia, to a developed Liberia, to a Liberia that we will not have an airport in the 21st century that do not have light. We will not have a Liberia that will say only rainy season that we can have electricity and dry season that will be no electricity. That we will have a Liberia that we can find drugs in our local clinics in JFK. That JFK will be the number one. The most number one in Africa. Liberians, let's wake up. This election is our election, and we must stand up and stand up now.
Okay, so yeah, well, tomorrow we'll try to do other time. I'm so sorry, we got a little bit blown off here, but tomorrow we're definitely going to take some phone calls. And if you wish you have the time, you can hopefully join us. We always want to have this sort of sharing of information. But George, go ahead 1 minute quickly before.
I'm following this story about the gas tax.
Oh.
In Liberia.
Oh boy.
So, I
don't know this thing here that Boogie try. And then in Liberia, time for me to come by, time the gas thing can become more problem. I don't know why. I don't know. I don't know. All right. Yeah.
I see the gas fund. Government have been dipping your hand into it, so want to know what is happening there. And I hope to see you tomorrow on about Boakai on the witness stand again. Yeah. But my word to them is that enough is enough. This thing is complete nonsense.
Yeah.
It's complete nonsense. I think Ambassador Boakai, it's not time for him to come as a statement and tell you back off. The Liberian people are looking up to us. Get this thing out of the code. I think it's not time for
can you look at your superpower, your ally, and tell them, say, go away from me?
Oh, Mr. Soe, it's not about your superpower. It's your superpower.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, no.
You think America can look at Great Britain and say, hey, man, no, I don't want you to be, you stay out of my business. They will sit around the conference table.
Mr. Soe, Jeremiah Wright. Obama could look at Jeremiah Wright, the pastor, and say, hey, this thing you're doing, I'm not with you. I'm distancing myself from you. Jeremiah Wright, this pastor. Obama did it.
I wish you luck.
Ambassador Boakai would not do it, except Ambassador Boakai don't like the Liberian people. He likes Europe more than the Liberian people. But if he loves the Liberian people, it's not time that Ambassador Boakai stand up and tell Europe, hey, take this thing out of the court. Let's go and settle it because the Liberian people depending on us. I think if Owen Boakai have a press conference and make that pronouncement, Benin Europe would not stand from Mr. Boakai and say no. Or Mr. Comey would not say, no, I can't talk to you. It is not time that Joseph Boakai stand up like a man, like a statement, and say, you know what? The Liberian people cannot dash people who. It's not time this kid get out of the court.
You want him to put his pants. You want him to put his pants on, gentlemen. Let's leave it. We're to get this conversation this evening. Tomorrow, by God's willing, same time, we're going to be here. And to all our viewers and followers, thank you. Even though you didn't call, but your tweets, your comment, we'll follow all of that. After program, we go that and review. We take your comments, your criticism, whatever it is. We take it. We're going to be making a wide range of adjustments here, especially with Sky FM, where our voices will be echoed in other parts of Liberia. So just keep watch when the official. We relayed yesterday but we are still working scheduled. Hopefully, T Max and myself, he will be on the other end. I will be here, and we'll be having some great interviews as well. Gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time, your expertise, your sessions, your contributions right here on Lpr-Tv. So by God's willing, we're going to be right back here at the same time, same station on this network. Until then, have a pleasant evening. So that's how we're going to leave it this evening. I'm Alphonso Zean Soe. To all our viewers and followers, thank you for your time, your comments, your interactions. What a wonderful one. And let's keep Mama Liberata in the back of our This one is from neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire. For your time this evening, I'm Alphonso Zean Soe of the Liberia Public Radio 10 Lpr-Tv. Thank you so much for your time. On this note, that's how we're going to wrap it up this Wednesday. From the East Coast, it's time check here. It's 9:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Mama Irene, Mama Sylvie, Amade Ramonier, Inyo, Zibo, Menjame boy de Pelandia no Yabe, Mopeti Eric Dway, Bamano Ade, Amwese Avie, Monaranja Herbision, Monday Blamani de Pepe Yamuo, get Menjame boy.
Bro was not a creator of and that caught the attentions of diasporans. And now my own state representative, Mr. Nathan Bia, who is a state representative for the overall island, a very decent man. At the time he was president, and Liberians all over Philadelphia, Minnesota, and I'm quite sure a lot of people here know, and people to galvanize and were sent resources. We created that narrative, and there are many others. So for the most part, we are happy of what we are doing. We content with what we do. Our only competition is for us to do the best, and we don't worry about who is thinking about or who is running ahead. No, that's not our focus.
That's a fantabulous platform.
Yeah.
Time that is costly. Sort of together stuff running here. Who funds it? Who bankrolls the activities, the operation of LPR?
You are putting the finger in my throat now. But I can tell you, LPR is self-funded by goodwill Liberians, both home and away. Some of our good friends who love what we are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I told my folks, we are not a type of this sort of GoFundMe cash. If you ask any follower of LPR, we are not that type. We usually like to intervene. The students in Morocco,
mm-hmm.
You remember there was an issue when the students were calling for their STEMP.
Mm-hmm.
And when I talked to the student leader, young Scarlett, John Singway and his folks, I managed to reach out and I able to get a sense of what was happening, not just only from them, to reach out to the embassies, also to make sure to know what was going on. And I told my folks and I told our fellow, we're going to do a fundraiser. And there was some crazy people. Let the people go home. Let the people go home. What are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Go home. These people, they have gone to prepare themselves to come and give
for the future. Yeah.
So let's assume government cannot do XYZ. What is our role as a citizen? We can help. And guess what? We did a good fundraiser. Whatever that were collected, we publish it. All of our donors, we send that. And those children, if it doesn't even meet them 100%,
it made them halfway.
It get them to be where they are. And some of them are graduating. They are geologists. They are in medicine. They are in different. What happens if we are sending them here to up to the South group or whatever that is happening here? You destroy the fabric and the future of the country. So we decided to play our part as an entity. We don't, and we are very selective in doing that. We don't just put cash app number or go from. No, even don't go for cash app, which is attached to our bank account. But by the way, don't ask me what is in the account. $0.
No. Okay. I don't want to know. If it was $0, you would have to ask you how much is in there. But I'm not interested. I'm interested in the way. So. Such a platform would need affiliates. Like, for instance, you have CNN has affiliates, MSNBC, VOA, and BBC have affiliates. So I need affiliates of LPR in Nigeria. How, if that is possible that we can establish that sort of network of connectivity.
Absolutely. And part of that is to extend what is happening here to the diaspora librarian. The diaspora librarian has a greater interest of what is happening in the country. However, we are very, very much careful, selective in people that we want to align with. I don't want to sound too little bit political here, but sitting with T-Max itself has a political nature. I don't want to go into the collaboration. But yes, there are good networks here, possibly this beautiful place, because I listen, the balance, objectivities involved in the news. So all of these things we take them into consideration. In Abenda, believe me, we have been all over here. But we are reaching to that point because we are getting to a very consequential point. In 2020, even beyond 2023. We need to take the narrative of what is happening in Liberia out of the hands of the politicians. The politicians have been very successful in making their own talking point, and that is siding. What am I saying? We need to focus on the issue. Timas, it is ridiculous. It is absurd. When I hear the representative senator coming to say they're going to build a road, they're going to do this,
that is not their work to do.
Jack Reed didn't tell me that in Rhode Island. David Cicilline didn't tell me that in Rhode Island. And I'm quite sure other people. So tell me, somebody, by the way, should ask them how they're going to do it. Is that your function?
Usually what's happening in Liberia, I'm not, that is the usual thing that our people, unfortunately, are gullible. People, unfortunately, how do I put us? We are not informed.
People refuse to be informed.
We're not informed. So when a guy goes to your community, he wants to be represented. Then he wants to build a clinic. He wants to be a role. He got scholarship form. You don't know how many guys on the scholarship. The scholarship thing is being misused and abused. And people don't ask them. People don't ask them to be able to. It's not your work to do. And public works. You're not the government of Liberia. We sign on to the government of Liberia, or we vote people in position in government to make sure that you are there, to make sure that we are represented, to make sure that you share our aspirations, the things that we want to see done to our people, and you make laws that will benefit us. These are the cardinal points of senator representative. Unfortunately, because of the I wouldn't call it the absurdity of our people or the ignorance of our people, cheap thing, now people fall to it. Am I interested to know? And I want to be in Liberia come next year and see the and see how people do things. People do things, how people are being grossly misled and fooled to. Everybody, until after 6 months, the guy will come, hello, I'm calling from the deserted, abandoned district, abandoned county. The guy, the same guy who promised that he would pay you roads, and he thought he would pay you roads. You believe that he would pay you roads. And our elections.
So this is where the media comes in. Unfortunately, to media, I don't want to sound a little bit to be bashful, but we have to say why it is. And that's how I conduct my program. Like I say, I tell you what you need to know. Media too has a very critical role in the reconstructions of Liberia. But we know how the system has been polarized. You hardball money comes in, all of that. It happens in the US, other places. But the media has to position herself to create a conversation where the citizen will be able to make an informed decision.
From the West African nation of Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia Public Radio and Television present Business Diary. This program focuses on the activities of business institutions and individuals in society.
You've worked for months to bring your client's event to life.
It has been very good to have this business established here. We are 1 year since we opened here in Anono. There have been few challenges here that have faced in this country, and that is all about the language. But here instead, I refuse to be deterred. I refuse to be discouraged. I open a business and things have been fine.
My name is Mercy Wangari-Nganga. I am a finance officer working for an international organization. I have a master's degree in business administration. So today I'd like to take the opportunity to talk to you about